Hey, B.O., what you want? We need to bring Murdoch out of the psych ward again. No way, Hannibal. That crazy fool is exactly where he needs to be. Come on, B.O., we need a pilot. That crazy fool is trying to scare everybody about global warming and make them feel guilty about emissions, yet it's okay for him to fly around in a gas-guzzling jet. Now, B.O., you're just saying that because you're afraid to fly. Come on, B.O., it'll be fine. We'll even paint your emblem on the rudder. How about that? B.O., baby, did you miss me? I see you still have a whole pawn shop hanging from your neck. Shut up, fool. You're like a walking swap meat. You're about to be walking dead meat.
Yeah, dead white meat.
Honey, why don't you go back to the church until we get back?
Put you on some white bread with some hot sauce.
That's enough now, baby. Okay, here's the assignment. We gotta save America from 4 more years of Bush.
Bush bad. He's a liar and a thief. He stole my presidency.
Right?
He's so bad. He's so bad. He stole it. He stole what was mine.
Murdoch, say it. You're smarter than Bush. You're smarter than Bush.
I'm smarter than Bush.
If you're so much smarter than Bush, then how'd you let an idiot like that steal the election from us twice, fool?
The American people need to know that the fact that we haven't had any terrorist attack on American soil since 9/11 ain't important. We also have to make sure that they don't remember that during Clinton's administration, Al-Qaeda bombed the World Trade Center in '93, bombed U.S. embassies, and struck the USS Cole. So, even though Al-Qaeda was an active and hostile enemy during Clinton's term, and he coulda, woulda, shoulda taken care of the problem, we want to make sure Bush takes the blame. Exactly. Now we're not even fighting against the ones who hit us on 9/11. Our liberal media brainwashing is even working on you, B.O. What you talking about, Hannibal? B.O., the war on terror isn't about capturing bin Laden, but we've convinced the masses that it is. That's right, B.O. Terrorism isn't one man, ergo bin Laden. Terrorism right now is an Islamo-fascist movement. Saddam Hussein was part of that movement. True, he didn't draw up the plans of 9/11, but he did allow Al-Qaeda to conduct operations in his backyard, and he did make financial contributions to it, along with other activities of Al-Qaeda, which definitely qualifies him as an accomplice. But what about Bush having the receipts? That, my friend, is our liberal Hollywood agents promoting that talking point. Truth is, America, just like other countries, sells products all over the world. Saddam purchased machine products, some American-made, and assembled them to facilitate his WMD program. Kinda like the way a prisoner assembles parts to make a tattoo gun. So no, Bush made no deliberate sales to Saddam Hussein. Next you're gonna tell me that 9/11 wasn't an inside job. There are people who hate America even more than we do, B.O. And that extreme hatred flew planes into our buildings. And if anybody knows crazy around here, it's me. And what I think is crazy is that people who believe 9/11 is an inside job are people who hate America, hate capitalism, and hate Bush. You would think Bush would be their hero if he masterminded the deaths of 3,000 American capitalist pigs and all. We have to downplay the fact that women there are now free to vote, work, hold public office, and more children can go to school. We have to play up how many civilians have died in the crossfire at the fault of American troops. But the truth is, the terrorists would use those civilians as shields, and then we have to dismiss the over 100,000 of civilians Saddam Hussein exterminated. In short, B.O., we have to make the Republicans look like warmongering simpletons who love to invade other countries for their resources. Well, I say the Republicans just go to war to fix a failing economy. Actually, B.O., if war boosted economies, we wouldn't have a slow economy now. That's good, though, B.O. You're reflecting exactly what we want the American people to think. B.O. is starting to think that you think B.O. is stupid. No, not at all. Pity the fool that thinks I'm stupid. No, B.O., not at all. It's got to be Bush's fault that the economy is slow, and McCain will keep it that way. Here's the deal, B.O. Reagan cut taxes. Yeah, for the rich. Very good, B.O. Your reflexes to respond with that liberal talking point is well ingrained. But what we don't want people to know is that even though Republicans cut taxes for the rich, we Democrats raise taxes on everybody and everything. We even tax the dead. We downplay the trickle-down theory, but the truth is that the more money a business is allowed to keep, the more money they can put back into their business. They can give more hours, give more jobs, and give more incentives because more productivity equals more money. As I was saying, Reagan cut taxes. This created an economy that was able to afford the technological boom, and it made it where the consumer could afford it. This economy resonated into the Clinton administration, who taxed the American worker into a surplus. Billions of dollars was taken from the American worker? Yep. Our voter base is happy that Clinton took billions of their dollars and are only mad at Bush for spending it. He even tried to give some of it back to them, and they laughed at him. That's right. Our liberal, wealthy, elitist snob said, what are we going to do with this? Meanwhile, forgetting the little people that we supposedly care so much about who really were glad to get it. And what's even better, B.O., is that when 9/11 hit, it affected so many jobs, but it didn't matter. It was easy as pie to blame the deficit on Bush. Not to mention, he was already inheriting an economy that was heading into recession from the Clinton administration.
And it's that same hatred for Bush that we'll use to make people prejudiced against McCain.
You know what else is crazy? Is that we've convinced the people that we should become a socialist nation without revealing ourselves as socialists. They don't seem to see that millions of people risk their lives trying to leave their socialist and communistic countries because they want to benefit from things like our competitive-based healthcare system. The people also don't know that in these socialistic and communistic countries, the elderly are a burden on the state and can't wait for them to die so they don't have to pay on them anymore. Republicans know that when people have privatized retirement plans, the elderly don't have to worry about being a burden to anybody and remain a benefit to the economy. Speaking of crazy again, those Social Security checks were made from taxes, and when we issue them, we tax them again, and we've convinced the people to think that that's a good thing. Oh!
Not to mention, Republicans know that vouchers for private schooling is the best answer to education. Even we know that, but we'll never admit it. Huh. None of us send our kids to public school. We brainwash them ourselves and let the public school system brainwash the rest.
Exactly. We've got CNN, ABC, NBC, MTV, Comedy Central, Cartoon Networks, LA Times, New York Times, FM radio, the movie industry, the public school system, and the majority of colleges and universities, socially engineering the masses, indoctrinating them with our Marxist solutions. Then why are the people complaining about Republicans having Fox News and AM radio? Because we keep our voter base in a victim mentality state, B.O. We've convinced the American people that Bush has ruined the economy, when in fact it's because we environmentalist liberal Democrats have stood in the way of drilling for oil in our own country. See, the price of gas affects everything. Nobody, not even the Democrats, not even Dick Cheney can do anything to fix the economy until we have our own oil. Speaking of Dick Cheney, man, I think it's amazing that we've turned people against him and Halliburton, even though Clinton was contracting Halliburton all throughout his term. Oh, and how we vilified him for shooting his friend in the face. Ha ha ha! They were just out doing what they love, man. They were just out hunting. I mean, Jackie Chan and his stuntmen love doing what they do, but we don't vilify them when they accidentally slash each other with weapons or break each other's bones. And all we have to do is keep telling people that drilling won't work, and they'll believe it. We just have to tell them it'll take 10 years. Oh, and making people feel like animals are more important than human beings helps too.
Speaking of energy independence, what about Sarah Palin?
What was that? Oh, that was Hillary. She's actually in the padded cell next to mine. She went crazy over the Sarah Palin pic. We gotta take her out, gang. I'd so love to take her out. Easy face. I'd like to fog up her glasses, you know what I'm saying? 18 in the face. I got a real pipeline for Mrs. Palin, I tell you what. I think we're gonna have to slap them. When I get a look at those legs and the way her skirt dresses that booty, I'm thinking drill, baby, drill, and gusher, dog. Face! Oh, yeah, right. She ain't nothing special. Just 'cause she can see Russia from her house and all. Our voter base questions the validity of the Bible, yet feels that Jesus being a community organizer and Pilate being a governor is a valid point. They use what they think is invalid to try to make a valid point. Can you believe that? You know, it's funny that people don't see that in order to see Russia, she has to see what's in between. Talk right, man. Well, she also has to see a land that will fortify our energy independence. She also has to see cities, one of which she was a mayor of, which people want to overlook as her executive experience, which I think is crazy, and I know crazy. They also want to overlook her executive experience as the Alaskan governor. She even oversaw the National Guard.
Don't nobody care about her little podunk state of small-town people?
Our voter base is always saying that they want someone who understands the common folk, a down-to-earth, everyday Joe who knows what it's like to experience some of the things that most Americans have experienced. But when they finally get one, they reject her because they'd rather have a pompous, elitist snob. I know, man, it's like our liberal Democrat voter base is like a bunch of kids that go crazy because they want to see Santa Claus, and when they finally get to see him, they go to crying and pee in his lap. But woo, the Republicans are all about Sarah Palin.
I knew America wasn't ready for a black president.
You'd think they figured out by now that we've been burying the fact that Lincoln was the father of the Republican Party, risked political and economic suicide, and sacrificed the lives of thousands in part of the war to abolish slavery. The Republicans led the majority vote for blacks to have appointed positions, and Woodrow Wilson and Democrats stomped all over that. We've also managed to keep from the people that the Ku Klux Klan was founded by Democrats to be a terrorist fraternity against the abolitionists. That Republican Eisenhower also ended military segregation and also sent military support to make sure that those black kids could go to school without being harassed by whites, while we Democrats had Jim Crow. Republicans also led the majority vote to get the Civil Rights Act passed in the 1960s. Martin Luther King himself was a Republican, and so was his father, and the Republican Ronald Reagan was finally the president who honored the efforts of Martin Luther King with a national holiday. Well then, what does our party do? We keep the people angry, B.O. We keep them prejudiced against the Republicans. We make them believe that the truth is only truth if it's negative and if it keeps you angry. We poison the masses and promise them the antidote, but we only give them the prescription that keeps them dependent. So we really are a party of deceivers. Hannibal, I think it's about time to put B.O. on the plane. Right. Hey, B.O., you want some Kool-Aid? Hell yeah, I want some Kool-Aid.
Me too. I want some Kool-Aid too.
There you go. Drink the Kool-Aid. Everybody drink the Kool-Aid.